and welcome to SureenaSpeaks. And in this video I'm going to go through, for those of you who are about to embark on your pre-reg year. Exciting times! I've had quite a few messages from you guys who are about to start, and so in this video I'm going to try and cover those questions that you have asked me as best as I can and provide you with some general advice. Now, first and foremost, a lot of you guys seem really nervous about starting your pre-reg year, and that is absolutely normal. Speak to anyone who's been in your position and I'm sure they'll tell you the exact same thing, because when you are starting a new role, a new job, even a new pharmacy year, it can be really scary and really nerve-wracking because you don't know what to expect. I remember when I first started my pre-reg, I didn't have a lot of pharmacy experience. I had done a few student work experience placements, but I didn't have a lot if I'm comparing to my other peers. And if you're in the same boat, honestly, don't think you're at a disadvantage, because you're really not. Everyone starts up at the bottom everywhere, and everyone has to start from the bottom and work their way up. And so it's kind of a level playing field, because you're all going to learn the same things, talk the same things. So you're really, truly, and honestly not at a disadvantage. Saying that, those of you who maybe were working in a pharmacy, maybe as a trainee dispenser or a healthcare assistant whilst you were doing your pharmacy years at university, say for example you did that at pharmacy A, but now you're doing your pre-reg year in pharmacy B, a whole different company, you may feel like, oh, actually, I'm being reverted back to basics again. I'm being taught everything that I already know, which can feel a bit frustrating, and sometimes you might even feel it's a bit patronizing. But remember, your tutor, those colleagues that you're working with, they don't know you. They don't know where your strengths and weaknesses lie. And so it's an opportunity for them to see actually where is it that they need to support you on, and which areas actually do you really flourish in, and that they can have confidence in you. So don't feel like it all being reverted back, because you're not. Because when you were in, say, pharmacy A, you were acting as a healthcare assistant, as a trainee dispenser. Whereas now, in your pre-reg year, you're trained to be a pharmacist. And when you're trained to be a dispenser and when you're trained to be a pharmacist, it is two very different things. So always keep that in the back of your mind. Yeah, you may have been a great trainee dispenser before, but now actually in your pre-reg year, you're trained to be a pharmacist. So get into that mindset now. Also remember that different pharmacies operate in different ways with different systems. So you will be learning a whole new set of skills. What I'd really advise is get involved with everything, even the most menial and boring of tasks. For example, how to replace a label in a label maker or putting stock away. The first few months of my pre-reg spent figuring out where all the stock went and putting stock away. And I hated it because it was so time consuming, it was really boring. But actually, having done that for months, I was then, when it came to dispensing, I was really efficient at it because I knew exactly where everything went. So it made such a big difference in the long run. Even something, for example, like doing dossets. I hated doing dossets because when you're popping out all those pills, it can be really painful. However, through doing dossets, I learned so much. For example, what an epilim tablet looks like, what aspirin dispersible, what markings there are on there. And actually, when you know and you're able to identify which tablet is which, when you're a pharmacist and it comes to checking tablets, it makes life so much easier, because you'll be able to pick up, yep, that's definitely aspirin dispersible there. Yep, that's definitely bisoprolol because I recognize that marking. It makes it so much easier. Even through like drug interactions, knowing which medicines should be given with other medication, or knowing which medicines should be given 2 hours apart from other ones. And I learned that purely through doing dossets. So again, yeah, it may not be the most fun of tasks, but you'll learn a lot out of it. So do everything, get involved in every single task that you can. Say, for example, if you're in a hospital setting, this may involve going on ward rounds, so taking drug histories, or you may have to go on aseptic techniques. You may not feel that confident in doing so, but actually the more proactive you are, the more that you're willing to learn, the better pharmacist and leader you will become. And please don't ever feel like or feel too scared to ask questions. No question is a silly question, and don't let anyone ever feel like a question that you're asking is the silly question, because chances are when they were starting out, they didn't know the answer themselves. It's always best to play it safe. You always want to be practicing safely. So even if you're a little bit unsure, do ask the necessary questions. You may be in a store that provides additional services, for example, hair retention, travel vaccines, even care homes. get as involved as you can. So, for example, if it's a store that you're in that provides travel vaccines, if you can, try and shadow the pharmacist whilst they're doing a travel vaccine. So you can see what is involved in the consultation, what questions are asked, actually see their technique. Goes same with care homes, for example. Try and learn how to actually read MAR charts, drug charts, what needs to be included, excluded, and which situations would you need to contact the prescriber, contact the care home directly. Try and get involved with everything as much as you can. I'm a big advocate for revising on the job, so check out my How to Revise video on hints and tips on how you can maximise your pre-reg year when it comes to revision and ways in which you can learn whilst you're on the job. Communication skills are a big part of being a pharmacist, building up that rapport with your patients and even your colleagues. When you're in a hospital setting, you're tending to work with a bigger multidisciplinary team, working alongside doctors, nurses, dietitians, dispensers. So really watch how they go about doing things and learn from them. Having worked as a relief pharmacist and a locum pharmacist, I've noticed that when you go into most pharmacies, there's that one dispenser that's the real backbone of that pharmacy. And if they weren't there, then chaos would ensue. So what I would say is shadow that dispenser, see what it is that makes them the pinnacle of that pharmacy in many ways. What is it that they do and how do they go about doing things that makes them the go-to person? Because ultimately you kind of want to be that go-to person. You want to know what the ins and outs are, what the goings-ons of the pharmacy, what needs to be done, what processes are in place. And like I said, there's always that one dispenser that everyone ends up going to. So do shadow them, do take note of how they go about doing things. What I'd also say is it's really important to build rapport with your colleagues as well. You spend more time at work than you do anywhere else. So you want it to be a nice, positive environment. So even simple things like remembering what that person had, what their plans were for the weekend, or what their plans were that evening, asking them, did they have a good time? Little things like that can really build strong rapport. Even with your patients, remembering what plans they had. Sometimes something as simple as remembering a patient's name goes a really, really long way. So taking note of those little details, remembering them, and then asking them about how was their trip away, how was their evening that particular night. Those little things do go a really, really long way, and it's a really easy way to build up strong relationships and rapport with both your colleagues and your patients. Do listen and learn from your tutor. Now, some of you may not work that closely with your tutor, so when you do have those reviews or those catch-ups, you really want to demonstrate the progress that you're making. And the easiest way to do that is actually to showcase this through your competencies, showing that you have made progress and that you can be signed off of this, and that competency because you've demonstrated evidence of A, B, C, D, E. So do get your evidences together so that you can really showcase to your tutor that actually, yep, I am making really good progress. What I'd also say is try and get as much feedback as you can from those you work with as well. Positive feedback and feedback on areas that you need to improve on. Now, criticism isn't always an easy thing to accept or to take, but actually you're better off hearing it now early on, working on it, and then improving for next time rather than hearing it later on down the line. I do get asked quite frequently when you should start your revision with your pre-reg year, and the thing is, that question's really hard to answer because everyone learns and revises in different ways. For me, for example, I know my long-term memory is much better than my short-term memory, so I have to start my revision months in advance. I think I started mine in about November time and the exam was in June, whereas other people, they're much more better at cramming revision sort of last minute because they work better under pressure. So what I'd say is learn and revise in the way that best suits you, but also remember, the pre-reg year isn't just about jumping through hoops and getting through tick box exercises so that you can sit and pass 2 exams at the end of the year. You're doing this year to train up as a pharmacist. So make sure that you do get as much exposure as you can, try and learn as much as you can, and be as competent as you can be so that you're then eventually a confident pharmacist. This year isn't about just passing 2 exams and that's the end of it. No, 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 no. This year is about building you up as a confident pharmacist, as a day one pharmacist, even as a leader, maybe potentially even as a manager. But that's what the year is there for. It's unlike any other year, and yet it can be a really daunting and scary year, especially because it's so tiring having to work throughout the day and then come home and revise. But that's why I really stress out that you do check out my how to revise video, because in there I do give hints and tips on ways that will make your journey a lot easier when it comes to your revision. The other thing that I want to say is just try and learn as much as you can and embrace the year as much as you can. I think the bottom line is, don't go into there thinking of yourself as a pharmacy student or a pre-reg student. Go into the year with the mindset of, I'm a trainee pharmacist. Don't fall into the trap either of just being a dispenser the whole day, blindly sticking labels onto boxes. That is not your job. You are there to be a trainee pharmacist, to learn how to be a pharmacist. And sometimes you might need to pipe up and say, you know what, guys, I've done a lot of dispensing, but actually there's other tasks that I need to learn now. And I know of situations where students have had to have that open and honest conversation with their tutors. So don't feel like you can't do that. And don't be afraid of things like methadone or CD balance or vaccines, travel vaccine, flu vaccine. Embrace it as all as much as you can, because one day you will be responsible for all of that. Get into the right mindset now, and it'll make life so much easier. It'll make the year so much easier, and it'll make it flow so much easier. Best of luck. It is a hard year, but it's that saying of the more you put in, the more you'll get out of it. So have an awesome year. My videos are here, so do check them out to try and help aid in your revision as much as they can. Do check out my Facebook, Instagram and Twitter page for extra information and material on there. And good luck with the year! I hope you found this video useful, and if you did, why not give it a thumbs up? Like, share, subscribe, and until next time, good luck with your revision and happy revising!